Hello, my sweet friends. Welcome back to the Lantern Lit Hollow. Here, stories glow softly and help you drift off to sleep. So grab your favorite blanket, snuggle in nice and cozy, and when you're ready, we'll begin. This evening's tale is an old one, coming from the late 1600s and was written by Charles Perrault. The story is called Ricky Tuftyhead and will help us learn that there is more to beauty than just our outward looks. Once upon a time, there was a queen who gave birth to a son who was so ugly that it seemed doubtful whether he was human. A fairy who was present at his birth declared that everyone that met him would like him because he would be very intelligent. She added that, by virtue of the gift she was going to give him, he could give as much intelligence as he had to the person he loved most. All of this consoled the poor queen a little, and no sooner had the child started to talk than he said 1,000 nice words. In everything he did, there was something very witty which people thought very charming. I forgot to say that he came into the world with a little tuft of hair on his head, which led to his nickname, Ricky Tuftyhead. 6 or 7 years later, the queen of a neighboring kingdom gave birth to 2 girls. The first girl was more beautiful than the day, and the queen was delighted. However, the same fairy who had attended the birth of little Ricky Tuftyhead was present, and to bring her down to earth, she declared that this little princess might be beautiful, but she would have no intelligence whatsoever. This news upset the queen badly, but a few moments later, she was even more shocked, for the second child she gave birth to was as ugly as the first was beautiful.
"Do not worry, madam,"
said the fairy.
"your daughter will be so intelligent that her lack of beauty will almost remain unnoticed."
So be it, answered the queen. But is it not possible to give my elder daughter even a little intelligence?
"I cannot do anything for her as far as intelligence is concerned,"
said the fairy.
"but I will give her the power to make anyone beautiful whom she wishes."
As the 2 princesses grew up, their qualities grew with them, and everywhere in the land the people talked about the incredible beauty of the elder princess and the astonishing intelligence of the younger. It was also true that their faults progressed with their age. The younger princess became visibly uglier, and the elder became more stupid from day to day. Furthermore, she was so clumsy that she could not arrange china ornaments on the mantelpiece without breaking one. Neither could she drink a glass of water without spilling half of it. Although good looks may be a great advantage to a younger person, the younger sister almost always had the better of her elder sister in any company. People always admired her, but they were always more interested in what the intelligent princess had to say. Although the elder princess was quite stupid, she noticed this and was often very lonely. Indeed, she would have given all her beauty without a moment's hesitation in order to have even half the intelligence of her sister. The queen, although she knew it was not fair, could not help reproaching her elder daughter for her stupidity, which made the poor princess so unhappy she almost wished she were dead. One day, when she had run into the woods to cry over her misfortune by herself, she saw a little man coming toward her. He was very ugly and unattractive, but magnificently dressed. Of course, it was the young Prince Ricky Tuftyhead. He had fallen in love with the princess from her portraits that were spread throughout the world, and had left his father's kingdom so that he could see her and talk with her. The prince was delighted to meet the princess here all alone. He approached her with all due respect and all politeness imaginable. After he paid her conventional compliments, he noticed that she was extremely unhappy. "I do not understand how a princess as lovely as you can be as sad as you appear to be," he said. "I have seen countless numbers of lovely girls in my life, but I can tell you truthfully that I have never seen, in all of my travels, one whose beauty compares to yours." "It is very kind of you to say so, sir," replied the princess. Ricky Tuftyhead continued, "Beauty brings so many advantages that it is the most important gift of all, and if one has been given it, I do not see that there is anything to cry about." "I would rather be as ugly as you are and be intelligent," said the princess, "than to have my beauty and yet be as stupid as I am." "I cannot believe that you are stupid," said Ricky. "Indeed, often clever people don't believe that they have any intelligence at all. I think it is the nature of that gift, that the more intelligent a person is, the more he thinks he is not." "I don't know about that," said the princess, "but I do know that I am extremely stupid, and that is why I am so miserable I could die." "If that is the only reason for your misery, I can easily put an end to your unhappiness," declared Ricky. "And how would you do that?" asked the princess. "I have the power to give intelligence to the person whom I love," he replied, "and as you are this person, I see no reason why you should not have as much intelligence as it is possible to have, providing that you will marry me." The princess was completely dumbfounded and could not think of what to say. "I can understand," continued Ricky Tuftyhead, "why my proposal has confused you, and I am not surprised. So listen, I will give you a whole year to think about it." The princess had so little intelligence, but at the same time desired it so much, and, as the end of the year was so far away, she accepted the prince's proposal. She had no sooner promised Ricky Tuftyhead that she would marry him on the same day the following year than she felt completely different. Suddenly, she found she could say everything she wanted in a subtle, effortless, and utterly natural manner. At once, she started to have grown-up and entertaining conversation with Ricky Tuftyhead, in which she shone so brilliantly that he wondered if he had given her more intelligence than he had kept for himself. When the princess returned to the palace, no one knew quite what to think of such a sudden and extraordinary change. She talked as much sense now as she had talked nonsense before, and everything she said was extremely sensible and witty. The whole court was more delighted than you could imagine. Only her younger sister was not happy with the change, because she no longer had the advantage of intelligence over her beautiful elder sister. She merely seemed dreadfully ugly. The king asked his advisors for guidance about how to deal with this new state of affairs, and held council meetings in his apartments, but all in vain. The news of this great transformation having spread abroad, all the young princes of the neighboring kingdoms tried their best to win the heart of the beautiful and intelligent princess, and almost all of them asked for her hand in marriage. In her turn, she did not find any of them intelligent enough, and she listened to them all without becoming attracted to any one of the hopeful suitors. However, one day there came a prince who was so powerful, rich, intelligent, and handsome that she could not help feeling attracted to him. When her father became aware of this, he told her that she was quite free to choose her husband without interference from him or his ministers, and that she only had to make up her mind. The more intelligent one is, however, the more difficult it becomes to make a firm decision on such an important matter. After thanking her father for allowing her freedom of choice, she asked for some time to think it over. It so happened that she went for a walk in the same forest where she had met Ricky Tuftyhead. She meant to consider in peace and quiet what she would decide to do. While she was walking there, deep in thought, she heard muffled noises under her feet, as if several people were coming and going and rushing around. After listening more carefully, she heard them say,
"Bring me that pot.
Give me that copper pan.
Put some wood on the fire."
At the same time, the ground opened up before her, and she saw at her feet a huge kitchen full of cooks, kitchen boys, and all kinds of people preparing a magnificent banquet. A group of about 20 or 30 cooks left the crowded kitchen and went to a tree-lined path where they settled around a long table and started working to the rhythm of a song. The princess was amazed by this spectacle and asked them for whom they worked.
"Madam,"
replied one of the group,
"we work for Prince Tuftyhead, whose wedding takes place tomorrow."
The princess was even more surprised at that, but she suddenly remembered that this very day, a year ago, she had promised to marry Ricky Tuftyhead, and she nearly fainted on the spot. She had not remembered this promise because when she made it, she was still a fool. But after Prince Ricky Tuftyhead gave her intelligence, she had completely forgotten all her rash promises. She had not taken more than 30 steps further when Ricky himself bowed before her, elegant, magnificent, and like a prince who was to be married.
"Madam,"
He said,
"I have kept my word, and I have no doubt you came here to keep yours, to make me the happiest man in the world by giving me your hand in marriage."
"I honestly confess," replied the princess, "that I have not yet come to a decision on the matter, and I doubt if I will ever be able to decide in a way that you wish."
"You surprise me,"
Ricky said. "I believe you," she answered, "and truly, if I had to deal with an unreasonable and stupid man, I would be very embarrassed. He would say that the word of a princess was her word of honor, and I should marry him because I promised it. But since you are the most intelligent man in the world, I am sure you will understand. I'm sure that you'll remember that even when I was a fool, I could not decide to marry you right away. The intelligence that you gave me then has made me even more careful. So how can you expect me to make a decision today that I could not make then?"
"If it is true that a man without intelligence would have the right to reproach you for breaking your promise, why then won't you permit me to do the same?"
replied Ricky Tuftyhead.
"Is it fair that people with intelligence are worse off than the ones with none? How can you agree with this, you who has so much and who so greatly wish to have it? But let us get to the point, please. Apart from my ugliness, is there something else about me that displeases you? Are you unhappy with my birth and pedigree, my intelligence, my character, or my manners?"
"Nothing at all," answered the princess. "I like everything about you."
"If that is true,"
continued Ricky Tuftyhead,
"you can make me the most handsome man in the world."
"How can that be done?" asked the princess.
"It will be done," answered Ricky. "If you love me enough to wish it to happen, I know that at your birth the same fairy who gave me the power to give intelligence to the person I love also gave you the power to make the one you love become beautiful."
"If that is the case," said the princess, "I wish with all my heart that you become the most handsome prince in the whole wide world. I give you as much of this gift as I can." No sooner had the princess pronounced these words than Ricky Tuftyhead appeared in her eyes to be the most handsome, the finest, and the most magnificent man she'd ever seen. Some people claim that the fairy spell had nothing to do with this, and that true love was the only reason for this change. They say that the princess marveled at her lover's perseverance, on his discretion, and on all the good qualities of his soul and his mind, and therefore no longer saw his deformed body nor his ugly face. They say that his hunched back seemed to her no more than an easy, cheerful manner of a man who shrugs his shoulders, and that where before she saw his awkward limp, it now appeared to her as if he just leaned in a rather charming manner. They also say that his squinting eyes only seemed the more amazing to her, that their crookedness appeared to her to be a sign of the intensity of his love for her, and that his big red nose seemed to her quite manly and heroic. Whatever the truth of the matter, the princess promised to marry him on the spot, provided he obtained the consent of her father, the king. The king knew that his daughter had a lot of respect for Ricky Tuftyhead, and having heard from reliable sources that he was a very intelligent and sensible prince, he gladly accepted him as his son-in-law. The wedding took place the next day, as Ricky had predicted, and according to the orders he had given all that long year ago. And that brings our tale to an end, my sweet friends. Now it is time to turn the lantern down to a soft glow, snuggle with your favorite stuffy, and let yourself drift off to dreamland. Sleep sweet, my dear friends, and I'll be here when next you return to the Lantern Lit Hollow.